sport over the orange round ball. So it's great the Bears have the number one pick. They're the family member who wins the lottery. They're not going to know what to do with it anyway, right? Defensive coach, no offensive sensibility. Who's their best wide receiver ever? I mean, does a Bear fan realize this morning that this organization is a lot closer to the Houston Texans than the rival Packers? The Packers win every year. The Packers are good. The Packers are disappointed greatly when they miss the playoffs, which they rarely do. I mean, Matt Nagy made the playoffs, an offensive coach. You had it all figured out, ran him out of town. This team just lost, 10 straight games? That's hard to do in the NFL. 10 straight losses? Defensive head coach, and you were last in defense? So my takeaway is you have a pitiful offensive line, a bad receiving core, and in 2022, those are the two things you got to get right. So I love the fact that the Bears have leverage and power, and they're going to get multiple picks, but I don't think they're going to know what to do with it. I mean, last year's draft's a great example. First two picks, a corner and a safety, they're both great. By the time they got to the third round, they drafted a wide receiver. They could have called me, a guy that can't track the ball, a guy that's kind of a fast guy that can occasionally on a jet sweep or up the sideline do something nice, but he's not a third-round wide receiver. He's not a big-time starter. To me, this organization is clinging to the 1985 Bears. Every year they've got another, game. They're celebrating this and they're celebrating that. Enough. You know how long ago 1985 was? I mean, seriously, none of the devices we use today weren't even ideas then. So it is, if you start looking around the NFL right now, 10 of the 11 top scoring offenses, 10 of the 11 made the playoffs. 10 of 11. The only exception, that Lions team. And they finished 9-8. And right now, Chicago does very little well on offense. The building's a defensive head coach, defensive-leaning building. So if I was the Bears, I would not only trade down with the pick, but I would trade down and not just get draft picks because they've shown no ability to draft offensive players and develop them. I'd go to the Raiders and say, you want it? Give us Hunter Renfrow and picks. So then I have Chase Claypool. I have Mooney. I've got Hunter Renfrow, and I can draft one. I would go to Indianapolis, and I'd say, give us your best offensive lineman. Quentin Nelson had an off year, but give me Quentin Nelson and a tight end, the kid you drafted last year, and a bunch of picks. But the idea that it's just, hey, just give us a bunch of draft picks and we'll figure it out, please. This organization, the offensive line, the receiving core, it's a mess. And I worry about the development of Justin Fields, who is now wildly spectacular. He does the 8, 9, and 10 of quarterbacking pretty well, but 1 through 7, I worry about his development. But just because you're in a power position or win the lottery doesn't mean you know what to do with the money. And I have great fear about Chicago. I don't think a bunch of draft picks solves it. I think some draft picks and a player or two on the offensive side. I would get a starting lineman and a pick or two, a starting receiver, Hunter Renfrow, and a pick or two. Because there's no history here. They know what they're doing offensively. Just isn't. They've won their division one time in 12 years. The Texans have won theirs 6 times in 12 years. So you're all laughing today at the Texans. Texans are a better organization last 12 years than the Bears by a lot. By a lot. All right. Where Colin was right, where Colin was wrong. Dak finished the regular season tied with Davis Mills of the Houston Texans for the most picks in the league, 15, despite only starting 12 games. And this was, of course, very predictable. Once you pay an average quarterback, that average quarterback gets less support. Kirk Cousins, Dak, I've always said, it's the same guy, slightly above average, can't carry a team to a win, needs a lot of help. Mahomes, it doesn't matter. He lost Tyreek Hill, doesn't matter. Best offense in the league. Dak, it does. Dak is not an A. Dak has never been an A. He wasn't a college A. He wasn't a high school A. He's not an NFL A. He's not the most talented quarterback, in my opinion, in his own division. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the world. So you can pay him whatever the market bears. But when I heard all the media and the fanboys rush out to, he deserves it. It's not a deserve league. It's not a deserve league. He's not a $45 million quarterback. He threw 3 more picks this year than Patrick Mahomes on 250 fewer throws. and a better run game. So he had more support in the run game. But, again, it was just this 2-3 year deal where Dak deserves the big money. You pay him $45 million, and there's a formula in which Dak has to play to win. And that formula is the run game is really strong, and he becomes a complementary piece. I had this same rant a week ago. Well, the run game yesterday averaged 2.4 yards a pop. What does that mean? Dak has to throw over 35 times. What does that mean in Dak's career? He loses. Yesterday, he was awfully at a 46 passer rating. But again, I never get too worked up. Dak's certainly good enough to win a playoff game. But when you overpay for a slightly above average quarterback, that quarterback gets exposed. Been on this for years. Let's get out of they deserve it. Pro sports, the NFL, is a hard cap. Pay big money very infrequently. You pay it for Allen or Mahomes or Burrow when you see otherworldly talent. But the Kirk Cousins, the Daks, the Garoppolos, you got to get a team-friendly deal. And right now, Dallas is exactly, I hate to do I told you, but we've been saying this for years. There's a formula. If you have a formula in which your quarterback has to play to win, then you've got a B quarterback. They're trapped with it. This is what they are. I think the Brady game is fascinating because Dallas this year has been a team that loses a game, wins 2 or 3 straight. Loses a game, wins 3 or 4 straight. If you look at the season so far, Dallas should win this game. They've had setbacks. They always come roaring back. And Dallas does more things well than Tampa does. Tampa can't run the ball at all. Dallas has these weeks they can't run the football. My guess is, though, Dallas does run the football against Tampa. Dak can throw it 33 times. Brady will have to throw it 51, and that usually is not good news for an older quarterback, which Brady certainly is. But, Dak after the game was asked about this was as ugly and embarrassing as Dak has been in a long time.
Not to use the language, but simple as that. And defense, I thought gave us a chance, did enough. Obviously some put them in bad positions. Us and special teams did. It's a fine line, and I've got to get better at it. And simple as that, this won't continue.
Again, Dallas is pretty good off a loss. They're pretty good off a loss. Let's not overreact, but let's bring expectations down. If you look at the favorites for the Super Bowl, it's a Mahomes team and a Josh Allen team and a Joe Burrow team. There's a reason for it. Trevor Lawrence just won his division. Herbert pulled his franchise in. You look at the Eagles now without Jalen Hurts and with Jalen Hurts. It's a different football team. Lower expectations equals more happiness as a Cowboy fan. J-Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Well, you said this was going to be a big show. We have breaking news, Colin.
Breaking.
Arizona Cardinals have fired Cliff Kingsbury. Black Monday has begun. Lovie Smith out in Houston.
Yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury out in Arizona.
Yeah.
Arizona also pushed out their GM, Steve Keim. Colin, this is a bit of a surprise. Lovie Smith, we knew he would get done. Well, that's 2 coaches back-to-back, one and done in Houston. Okay,
so the GM's having some personal issues. It's the second time he's had personal issues, so this was predictable. Kingsbury signed a new deal, but again, with what owners are worth now, GMs and coaches, it's a rounding error. You got to start fresh. And the reality with this organization now is make Kyler Murray happy and make Kyler Murray work, and it may be harder than
Wait, hold on. Do you think that's a good strategy?
Well, I'm saying it is the strategy in the league. Hey, listen, Aaron Rodgers, they've been sticking with this and walking on eggshells in Green Bay for years. We had one really bad year with Kyler. First couple years, he got better every year.
Wait. Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl. You can put up with some stuff when you're winning MVPs and Super Bowl.
Aaron's been around the league for 20 years. So this kid had a league, Kyler Murray, had a year we didn't like. Aaron's had 5. He's had 3 straight bad endings.
Wow.
So to me, this is a quarterback league. We now know that Brady and Belichick, it was a 70-30 Brady split. We love Andy Reid. It's funny how he now wins the AFC a lot because he's got Mahomes. I love Reid, Andy Reid, Bill Belichick. You got to get the quarterback right. Kyler Murray's not ideal. This was a bad year for Kyler. But this is the franchise. He is better than all but 7, 8 guys in this league as a talent.
I got to be honest. I'm surprised you are defending him to this level. So, Colin, remember, Bruce Arians was in Arizona, built a good culture. He leaves It's been a little bumpy.
Yeah.
Bruce Arians was in Tampa. He leaves. It's been very bumpy. There's no culture in Arizona right now, none.
Right.
And a lot of it kind of starts with the quarterback. Does he want to put in the work? Colin, they know he did not do any work last year. That's why they put in the homework clause.
Okay.
They can check his computer to see how few times he watched game film.
But one of the reasons New England has regressed is because Belichick only wants to draft and coach and work with people he likes. That is not the real world. You've got to have people in your locker room that drive you crazy. I own a small company. There's going to be people I have to deal with. That's the reality.